Alright, how you guys doing today? We about to hop into First Corinthians, my bad, Second Corinthians, chapter 12. First things first, though, make sure you like that video. Make sure you exit full screen, scroll a bit, like it, and then full screen it back up. You feel me? So watch the sermon. Don't worry, we got everything pulled up right here just to make sure that I answer about the questions that I have. I might have to actually rewatch part one because I realized I didn't pay attention well enough, and a question I did have points on. But basically, I had a point on questions about 28 through 33. And he said, besides the things that are outside, that which come upon me daily is the care of all the churches. So not only is he dealing with things outside of the church, but he also has to deal with the care of the churches inside. And he's weak, and not weak inside. I didn't really catch what he meant in verse 30 about the things concerning his infirmities. If that means wounds, I know what he's talking about. Weaknesses, diseases, or sickness. Yeah, so he said he was bringing up how in Galatians he called the scars on his back from the whippings the marks of Jesus. So he glories in things that concern his infirmities. And he basically, throughout the boasting, he was saying, I don't boast off things that go about, oh, we're Israelites, we're Jewish, we have grace of God to that. No, it's he glories or boasts in the things that bring him closer to Jesus. So the fact that we've all been baptized, that we're, humans, we can't really say that, but we believe in Jesus, essentially. So all the things that bring us closer to Jesus are things you can boast in. Or like he says in other chapters, you can boast in your weakness to show the glory of God. So boom, I'm a sinner. I'm such a huge sinner, but that shows the glory of God. And you boast at how good God is for being able to save me through all the sins I committed. He mentioned this last story just because it would mostly be seen as embarrassing that he was let down through a basket. But, he boasts in it because he says, yeah, I was getting chased. Put the city on lockdown just to try to capture me, and I had to get let down through a basket. So, But most people would say, bro, you got let down through a basket like a little baby, like a little dog. All right, bro, keep that one. But he said, nah, I was let down through that basket. What you know about that? Huh? Paul standing on business, bro. He's standing on all the business. First part was mostly about teaching false gospels and how people were coming to him with different types of, rule keeping. So they're trying to keep the law versus different types of Jesus. He was talking about the different sects of Christianity, sects. He's talking about, I think he talked about Latter-day Saints, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witnesses. Maybe not Latter-day Saints. I might be tripping about that one, but about how people said they got visions and whatever, and then that spawned a sect of the church and whatever. But different Jesus, different ways of salvation. So very weird and not endorsed. He's saying I'm rude in speech. I don't really know what I be talking about, but this talk that I'm talking, it's that talk that I'm talking. You know what I'm saying? I might talk like I can't speak. I might be speaking that broken talk, but guess what? The words that I'm speaking, I may tell you, x equal 5. X equal 5. But guess what? That might have just solved the most complex problem in the world. It don't matter how crappily I'm speaking if I'm speaking that knowledge. You feel me? He said, when I was with you, I wanted stuff, but no man gave. I didn't cause no man no problems. What was lacking to me, brothers from Macedonia supplied willingly, and the things I kept myself from being burdensome unto you, and I keep doing that because the truth is in me, and no man should stop me from boasting in the reasons of Asia. Yeah, I'm probably gonna rewatch chapter or part one because I feel like I could have paid attention a little bit better and got more out of it. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I paid attention just enough and it just still don't make sense. Or maybe he didn't bring it up. But we shall see on to chapter 12. I must go on boasting. Although there is nothing to be gained, I will go on to visions and revelations from the Lord. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven. Whether it was in the body or out of the body, I don't know. God knows. And I know that this man, whether in the body or apart from the body, I do not know. But God knows, was caught up to paradise and heard inexpressible things that no one is permitted to tell. I will boast about a man like that, but I will not boast about myself except about my weakness. Even if I should choose to boast, I would not be a fool, because I would be speaking the truth. But I refrain so no one will think more warranted by what I say or do, or because of these surpassingly great revelations. Therefore, in order to becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weakness so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. I have made a fool of myself, but you drove me to it. I ought to have been commended by you, for I am not in the least inferior to the super apostles, even though I am nothing. I preserved in demonstrating among you the marks of a true apostle, including signs, wonders, and miracles. How are you inferior to the other churches, except that I was never a burden to you? Forgive me this wrong. Now I'm ready to visit you for the third time, and I will not be a burden to you, because what I want is not your possessions, but you. After all, children should not have to save up for their parents, but parents for their children. So I will very gladly spend for you everything I have and expend myself as well. If I love you more, will you love me less? Be that as it may, I have not been a burden to you. Yet, crafty fellow that I am, I caught you by trickery. Did I exploit you through any of the men I sent to you? I urged Titus to go to you, and sent a brother with him. Titus did not exploit you, did he? Did we not walk in the same footsteps by the Spirit? Have you not been thinking all along that we have been defending ourselves to you? We have been speaking in the sight of God as those in Christ, and everything we do, dear friends, is for your strengthening. For I am afraid that when I come I may not find you as I want to be, and you may not find me as you want to be. I fear that there may be discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, slander, gossip, arrogance, and disorder. I'm afraid that when I come again, my God will humble me before you, and I will be grieved over many who have sinned earlier and have not repented of the impurity, sexual sin, and debauchery in which they have indulged. There surely is a lot to take in here. I'm amped. I'm amped. I'm hyped to watch these sermons because he said that this is one of his favorite ones to teach on, and I can see why. This thing is jam packed, and honestly, it's probably easy to overlook things that are within it because you could definitely take some things out of context. I can see how that would happen. It is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. Jeez, he's already starting off with words I can't really comprehend in this context. But it's not really profitable for him, is what he's saying. For me, doubtless to glory. This syntax is crazy. Syntax? I can't remember syntax versus the other one. Syntax versus semantics. That's the other one. I think semantics means like the meaning of the word. Syntax is the structure of language, elements, word order. Yeah, the syntax. Semantics is the meaning of the individual word. Yeah, so the syntax is really throwing me off on this one. I'm not gonna lie. Also, another for doubtless or not translated. This word has been not translated one time. That's kind of crazy. Now, so he's saying it's not profitable for me now to boast. I will come to visions and revelations. How does this fit in with the last chapter? I'm gonna see where it leads off on because once again, this is one big letter. He didn't chop it up into things, into chapters, so it just all flowed through. The window in the back seat, I was let down by a wall and escaped by his hands. And through a window in a basket, I was let down by the wall and escaped his hands. It's not profitable for me now to boast. I will come to visions and revelations. So I think he basically just digresses. It's not profitable for me to boast right now. I'm still gonna come to these visions and revelations. To a man in Christ, whether I cannot tell that he was out of the body, but he caught up in the third heaven. I wonder if that's one word, if that's a phrase, because I assume it to be a phrase. Well, the third, but I guess not. He's saying he won't boast in himself, but of this man who went there and saw such things in the third heaven. But he also says, I won't glory about myself, but through my weaknesses, which, that answers the question about last chapter. He was boasting in his weaknesses so that, God may be made stronger. So though he wants to boast, I won't be a fool. You know what I'm saying? He may want to do it to get his point across, but that would just make him foolish in his own words. But he will say the truth, for he's going to say, lest any man should think of me above what he seems to be. You know what I'm saying? No man should think of him higher than what he is, or that what he hears of him. You know what I'm saying? So you may hear things of Paul, but you can't think of him higher than what he is. You can't think of somebody higher than what they really are because we're all weak. We're all the same, fallible humans. Fallible. You know what I'm trying to say. We're all weak humans. So you can't think of us higher than what we may seem to be. For fear that he should be exalted above measure. So I remember I looked up measure bound. Be exalted above measure is all one phrase, which is interesting because last time we were just looking at measure just to be the definition of the one word. All right, so we're here on a different day again. My granddad's birthday was yesterday, so we had to cut it short and I had to go to bed because I had to be at work at 5 a.m. And then I just recorded this, but the audio didn't record, so hopefully it's recording this time. Okay, so we finished off at verse 6. And for fear that I should be exalted above measure, which just means that he shall be exalted, period, through the abundance of revelations that he will receive, that were given to me, there was given a thorn in the flesh, a messenger of Satan, to buffet me, aka to punch me, or to hit me, or to stop me, or to halt me, for fear that I should be exalted, based off these revelations. Something was given to where he shouldn't be exalted above anything else. And he told the Lord 3 times, help me so that it could go for me. But he said, my grace is sufficient, and my strength is made perfect in your weakness. So this is making you weak. Therefore, my strength is made perfect. And Paul said, well, then I was glad to glory in that. I was glad to boast about that thorn in my side, because the power of Christ is resting upon me and making him perfect. Therefore, he takes pleasure in these weaknesses and reproaches, necessities, persecutions, distresses for Christ's sake. For when he's weak, he's made strong. And I'm a fool when I boast, but you guys made me, for I ought to be commended of you. And what I checked with this is commended means to make whole. So I assume for right now, until I watch the sermon, that he's meaning because of you guys, I am made whole. The grace of glory worked through me to work through you, so I can be made whole in being an apostle, knowing that I've spread grace to other people. For I am nothing, or for in nothing I'm behind the chief apostles, though I am nothing. So I'm not lacking behind these chief apostles, even though I'm already nothing. But the signs of an apostles were among you guys in patience, signs, wonders, and mighty deeds. That he was never a burden. So how are you inferior to other churches, except that I was not a burden to you? And forgive me for this, the fact that I guess you were inferior to other churches for a little bit. But the third time I'm ready to come to you, and I won't be a burden to you. But I seek not yours. I don't seek what you have, but I'm seeking you. For the children ought not to lay up for the parents, but the children's for the parents, or for the my bad, the parents for the children. And he will gladly spend his money and be spent as money for these children. And though the more abundantly I love you, the less I be loved. And in the NIV, what I was saying in the first recording is that the NIV phrases this as a question. If I love you more, will you love me less? But in the KJV, it's said with a period. And what I was taking this as is the more love he has for us, the less he's going to be loved. And we can even see this through Jesus, because the more he loved, God gave us this one act of love, his son, so that he may die for us and save us all. And without that, they weren't really getting persecuted. Yeah, the Israelites get sold into slavery, but that was because they weren't turning to God. But now, because he did this for Jesus, we get persecuted, we get all this. So he loved us so much, and now it's even less he's getting loved in return. He saved the world just so the world could persecute us, lie about us, all this stuff, which is crazy. But in the same way, I don't necessarily know if this is what he's talking about, but we're going to see in the sermon. And when I come back to you guys, be it so, I didn't burden you, for which reason, crafty, I trapped you with my trickery. I didn't exploit you by any of them who I sent to you, did I? I desired Titus, and with him I sent another brother. Did Titus exploit you? Did we not walk in the same spirit as you do? Did we not walk the same steps? And again, you think that I'm defending myself unto you, but we speak before God in Christ, and we will do all things, dearly beloved, you guys, for your edification. For I fear, for lest that when I come, so for fear that when I come, I won't find you as that I want to. So my fear, for fear that I don't find you as I want to, or that I should be found unto you as you would not find me. So I don't find you as I want to find you, and you don't find me as you want to find me, for fear that they should be debates, envyings, wraths, stripes, backstabbings, whisperings, swellings, and tumults. Tumults. I don't know how to pronounce that word. And for fear that when I come again, my God will humble me among you, and that I should groan and grieve and bewail, many of which who have sinned already and not repented of this uncleanliness, fornication, and lasciviousness which they have committed. So the sermon will get more into it, but that's the most that I can touch on for right now. Not being super duper well versed. All right, that's gonna be the end of the chapter. Hope you guys have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.